off with. I want to go to Amanda Harvey now, who's calling us from West Midlands somewhere. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, morning.
Good morning.
Right, you have a question really, don't you?
I do, yes.
Go on.
I've seen programmes talking about reincarnation before. I have got quite an open mind anyway. I mean, I've had readings done, this sort of thing, because as I say, I'm not I don't not believing anything until, you know, I've had a go myself.
Yeah.
But I have found, especially after listening to people speaking, that there are quite a few Napoleons and Cleopatras and Joan of Arc's about. So obviously, a lot of people are telling porkies, and I'd like to find out for myself how you can differentiate between the two. If there's a way that I can be hypnotised to find out if I'm reincarnated, to differentiate between the two, or whether it's you know, just somebody trying to make money.
It's a very good point, and Julie was making a joke about it earlier, but it's absolutely true. I mean, you know, there are a lot of Guinevere's around.
Our cute girl thinks she's Cleopatra.
Exactly.
As we've said on the programme before.
Yes. Rona thinks she's Cleopatra. Anyway,
there's a very
tell
simple way of explaining that. A lot of therapists, when they're regressing people, will skip people through their lifetimes very quickly. When I do regression therapy, and what I recommend is that a therapist takes someone into a lifetime in great detail, spend an hour in that lifetime. If you're just being skipped through a lifetime, you'll see Cleopatra, you'll see Napoleon, you'll see all of these famous people, and people will assume, oh, there's Cleopatra, I was Cleopatra. But what they have to remember is they're in the body looking at Cleopatra. The reason Cleopatra has come up is because that was a high point in their life, seeing their queen or seeing their leader. For instance, I took a man into a lifetime. He believed, I think he was King Louis XIV, because someone was kneeling before him and saying, you know, King Louis XIV. So he was all excited, I'm King Louis XIV. And I said, okay, let's take some time here, look beside you, see what's around you. He looked beside him, oh, he's King Louis XIV. I'm the man standing here holding the sword or whatever. So a therapist needs to take people through the lifetime in great detail.
Right.
And that is why so many people think they are
Rona,
these famous people.
Okay. Or maybe you're Anthony. Who knows? Well, you must take Rona back, actually. That'd be interesting. All right. Does that answer your question, Amanda?
Well, yeah, I mean, so there's still hope for me yet then. You never know what I might have been in a past life then.
Any choices? Anything you'd like to be?
Not offhand, no. I'll have to look into it more.
Yeah.
Also, to understand that we've all at some point had wonderful lifetimes, powerful lifetimes, but we've also been the abuser, we've been the bad guy too. We haven't always been the good guy.
Well, that links us on to our next call from Julie Morgan from Dorset. Morning, Julie.
Hello.
Hi. That's your question, isn't it, really?
Yes, it was. It was when people regress, are they ever disappointed or upset at what they find about their past life? For example, if they turn out to be a mass murderer or a rapist, do they regret finding out?
They don't regret it because, to understand, I get a great deal of people. That's why they come to me, because they have a lot of guilt in their lifetime. They don't know why they have guilt. I've had a lot of people come to me who were Nazis in past lives, and they are carrying forward a tremendous amount of guilt.
Who are Nazis?
Who are Nazis.
Yeah.
But going through the regression releases that guilt for them. It's something they need to go through, they need to deal with so they can get on with their lives. It's always helpful. It's painful initially to recognize that you were an abuser, you'd hurt people, but ultimately it's a releasing, it's a healing in the long run.
Can you just give us a little thumbnail sketch of a typical Nazi that you've regressed, what they've said and done in their...
A Nazi I regressed about a year ago. He was a young man, about 23, and he had been actually, in the present lifetime, very close to Jewish people. He surrounded himself now with Jewish people. We regressed him in that lifetime. He was a man who was a high-ranking Nazi officer. He was responsible for signing a lot of death warrants. He had been tried in the, I believe it was Nuremberg, I can't remember, war crimes. He'd been sentenced and he'd hanged himself about 5 years after he was in prison. Often also in regression you can get your full name from that lifetime. That's a reality check that you can check out.
And do they check out?
Yes, very often. So when he went through that lifetime, it was very painful for him, but ultimately it helped him understand why now in this lifetime he surrounded himself with Jewish people so that he could be accepted by them, because he had so much guilt that he had hurt them then.
Yes, I mean, it's tempting. I think it's a very comforting theory that we come back again and again and again. But, you know, I mean, he could have other reasons for sort of fantasizing that he was once a Nazi. You know, I mean, perhaps he happened to know a lot about the Second World War.
It can have a lot of reasons for fantasizing about it, but generally people want to fantasize that they were wonderful princesses, everything lovely. It's very rarely somebody would want to fantasize about being a Nazi.
Or chopping someone's
somebody's privates off,
using it to
exactly.
stir their
People, when
tea.
they fantasize, they want to create something lovely.
Right. But to answer you, Julie, are you asking the question because you're frightened that if you do get taken back, you'll turn out to be a rotter?
No, it's just sort of curiosity, really, because I know if I did get taken back, knowing my luck, I probably would be Vlad the Impaler or something, and I just prefer not to know.
No. Well, don't do it then.
But we go back and forth from being a victim, an abuser, to experience everything. It's part of our evolutionary path in regressions. You have to experience it all.
And you reckon we've all been here before?
Yes.
Well, then how do you account for population explosion?
That opens the door to a great philosophical discussion, but science has proven that we're all energy. And the Earth wasn't just created with so much energy. Energy is constantly coming into the Earth. There's actually been an article recently in a major science magazine that shows that the Earth has had a recent influx of energy that's not coming from the usual sources. That's why there's always more and more souls coming in to the Earth.
Have you ever regressed anybody back as far as being a caveman?
Yes, definitely.
Have you? Extraordinary.
Limited language.
Right. Okay, I think we're having a discussion about whether we actually drop our next film to extend this phoning because it's going on very well, but we'll come back to that. I think we are. Let's move on to Lindsay Jackson, who's calling us from Yorkshire. Lindsay.
Hi.
Hi. What's your point?
Right. My niece is 5 years old, and she, when we're eavesdropping, we listen to her talking. She says things about past lives. She talks about. She says when she's talking to her brother. When I was here before, we didn't wash in washing machines, Ben. We used to wash outside, and then we'd put the clothes through a twiddly thing, and it'd squeeze all the water out, and then we'd hang everything up in the kitchen. And she's only 5 years old, and I'm just wondering whether we should really encourage her to be thinking about things like that.
So you think she was kind of, I don't know, she must have been here, what, during the sort of 30s, 40s?
I don't know, really. She just talks about when washing, and she says, when I was here before.
She might have watched an old film, you know, on the telly.
No, because she doesn't actually know what the actual things are. I don't know, really. It just seems funny that she says, we used to do this, and when I was here before. You wouldn't think a 5-year-old would say, when I was here before. She wouldn't know about reincarnation or anything like that.
All right, what do you think?
It's actually very common for children because children often come into their next life with memories with language, remembering if they spoke French or whatever. As they grow, parents begin telling them that you're making things up, dear, so stop making things up. And they start realizing that they're not going to be accepted in society if they start talking about these things like past lives. I really encourage parents, if a child starts talking about something from they believe a previous lifetime, encourage it. I don't recommend that they be regressed yet because if there is something traumatic in that lifetime, they're too young to deal with it. But most children do have recall of previous lives.
She shouldn't worry about it?
No.
Okay, I want to squeeze one more call in very quickly because there's only a minute left. It's Steve Gammon from Surrey. Morning, Stephen.
Morning, Steve.
I'm Richard.
But you might have been Stephen in the past life.
Maybe you spotted a karma there. Maybe I wasn't.
Maybe, yes.
Steve. Okay, very quickly. Well, you got stigmata, babe. You got marks on your ankle.
Yes, on my inside left ankle, I have like an instinctive. It looks like a tattoo. It's TEN 9.2, and it's been there ever since. Well, as young as I can remember.
TEN 9.
TEN 9.2.
And what do you think it is? Have you done some research?
Well, apparently, in the First World War, in the concentration camps, they used to mark people on the ankles, and I saw an automatic writer about this, and she said that I was just bringing a memory of a life through with me.
But that, I mean, surely, we've almost run out of time, but surely you don't come back in the same body. He's not like having physical marks.
No, if you're having something physical coming out, it's usually a sign that there's something unresolved from that lifetime. It's trying to get you to go back and look at it. Yeah. Also, if you have moles on your body, birthmarks, it's often a sign of where you've had a fatal injury in a past life.
Fatal injury?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to rush you on that course, Stephen, but we're actually over time. Thank you very much. It's fascinating. I think I'll have a go at this. God knows what I was. Something awful, no, my luck. Anyway.